Lisa was born to Mr. and Mrs. Paul, and for the longest time she was the only child. Lisa was loved by her father, and the two were best of friends. On the other hand, Mrs. Paul was jealous of the relationship that Lisa and her dad had. She longed for another child who would feel the loneliness in her heart. Years passed and Mrs. Paul was not able to conceive. Lisa's 15th birthday came and her dad threw her a very big birthday party. He then gifted her 30% share of his own company shares. And this made Mrs. Paul even more angry. She became more desperate to get a son, and she started mistreating her own daughter. Lisa would sob every night, wondering why her mother hated her so much. One day, the desperation of having a son got the best of Mrs. Paul, and she visited the witch doctor in the village. The witch doctor, in return, told her this: "The only way to get a son is when you tie down your daughter's womb. I'll give you something to add into your daughter's meal, and then when your daughter is having her periods, steal one of her used panties and tie it with this rope, and keep it away from anyone. No one should see it. Remember, no one should see it unless you want it to backfire on you." The wicked mother went home and did as she was instructed. She did not hesitate to tie down her daughter's womb. From that day onwards, Lisa had very bad cramps. Her cramps were so painful to the extent that she would stay in bed the whole day crying because the pain that she felt was out of this world. Her wicked mother conceived and gave birth to a son, just as she wanted. But even after giving birth to a son, Mr. Paul's attention was still on their daughter. Many years passed and finally Lisa started working in her father's company. And one day she met a very handsome man, and after a few coffee dates, they got married. When Lisa got married, she had a very hard time conceiving. She visited different gynecologists who told her that everything seemed okay with her. Lisa got tired of visiting the doctors and she started going to church. She would pray and praise God, and soon her husband joined her in praying. Their home became a place of fellowship, and one day Mr. Paul pulled something hidden under the bed. It was a charm perfectly wrapped, and the moment he unwrapped it, their son Lewis dropped down dead. Mrs. Paul, on the other hand, was forced to confess, and after the confession, she turned mad. Lisa was able to conceive after 2 years of waiting on God. She gave birth to multiple children, and Lisa and her husband lived happily ever after. Mr. Paul, on the other hand, never remarried. The end. If you have enjoyed this story this far, please remember to give us a like, subscribe, and share if you can. And please drop your name on the comment section and wherever you're watching us from for me to give you a shout out on the next episode of Wonder Tales by Julian.